My beloved brothers and sisters, do you know sometimes we destroy our own blessings without even realizing it? One of the habits that many of us have developed is sleeping at a time when we should be awake, alert, and remembering Allah. After Asr, some people rush to their beds thinking it's just a nap, but in reality it could be a time of barakah slipping away. Subhanallah, the Prophet and the scholars of Islam have guided us with so much wisdom, even about how and when we sleep. Today, I want to share with you the hidden secret about sleeping after Asr, and why it may be the reason you feel heavy in your heart, lazy in your worship, and deprived of blessings in your life. In the daily cycle of a believer's life, there are moments that carry unique spiritual weight. Among these, the time after Asr stands out as a period of reflection, remembrance, and preparation. It may seem like just another part of the day, but in reality, it can be a moment of immense barakah or a time of neglect that leads to loss. The Qur'an and Sunnah emphasize that every portion of the day has its own value. After the Asr prayer, a believer has just entered the late afternoon, an important transition between the day's work and the night's rest. This is a time when the angels of the day are replaced by the angels of the night. The Prophet explained that the angels gather at Fajr and Asr and then ascend to Allah with a record of the deeds performed during those hours. A Bukhari Muslim. Imagine then how significant this time truly is. If you are engaged in prayer, Dhikr, Qur'an, or acts of goodness, the angels carry that testimony. But if you are wasting it in heedlessness, laziness, or sin, that too is carried upward. This alone shows us why the time after Asr is a decisive moment of either barakah or loss. Another reason this time is special is that it comes before Maghrib, a prayer surrounded by its own virtues. By using the time after Asr wisely, you prepare your heart for Maghrib and the night prayers. For example, reciting Qur'an in these moments not only softens the heart, but also plants tranquility in the home. Offering dua at this time is powerful, as it is among the periods when supplications are more likely to be accepted. The Prophet said there is an hour on Friday after Asr when Allah does not reject the dua of a servant, Bukhari Muslim. Many scholars held that this is the most blessed hour of the week. Yet sadly, many people miss out on this barakah. One of the ways is by falling into the habit of sleeping after Asr unnecessarily. While sleep itself is not haram, excessive or untimely sleep can rob a person of opportunities. It can make you groggy, cause you to miss Maghrib, or fill your evening with heaviness instead of productivity. What could have been time for dhikr, family bonding, or beneficial work becomes wasted minutes that never return. The Prophet reminded us that people are at loss regarding their time and health until they are gone. Bukhari. Moreover, in many traditional teachings, the hours after Asr were considered a time when the human spirit should remain alert, not idle. Farmers, traders, and scholars all used these hours for meaningful work. The rhythm of the day was designed around the prayers, and after Asr was never meant to be a period of heedlessness. Choosing laziness in this sacred window is essentially choosing loss, while choosing remembrance is choosing barakah. Practically speaking, how can we maximize this time? Begin with dhikr. Say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, and Allahu Akbar. Recite Surah Al-Ikhlas, Falak, and Nas for protection. Open the Qur'an, even if only for a few minutes. Spend time teaching your children or making dua for your family. If you have work to do, let it be halal work done with good intention so that it counts as worship in the sight of Allah. These small actions can transform your evening into one filled with light instead of one that slips into heedlessness. The time after Asr is a divine gift. It can either uplift your heart and fill your life with blessing, or it can become a wasted gap in your day that drags you down. The choice is ours. Do we treat it as a time of barakah, or do we let it become a time of loss? The wise believer knows that every hour is a chance to invest in the hereafter, and the time after Asr is among the most precious. Islam is a religion that values balance between worship and rest, between physical needs and spiritual duties. Sleep is a blessing from Allah, a means of refreshment for the body and mind. But like all blessings, it must be used with wisdom. Not all times of the day are equal when it comes to rest. The period after the Asr prayer has been highlighted by many scholars as a time when sleep can bring about negative effects, both physically and spiritually. Anyone who has tried sleeping after Asr has likely experienced waking up in a heavy, unsettled state. Unlike the refreshing nap of Kailula's siesta before dawn, which revives energy, the post-Asr nap often leaves the body lethargic. It disrupts the natural rhythm of the day, interfering with energy levels and mental clarity. This is why the scholars and elders of the past advised against it. Their wisdom was based not only on experience, but also on the spiritual consequences that come with negligence during this sacred part of the day. One of the harms of sleeping after Asr is the loss of alertness for the Maghrib prayer. Asr and Maghrib are close together, and if a person drifts into sleep, there is a real risk of missing Maghrib or performing it in a rushed, distracted state. Prayer is the most important act in a Muslim's life. To allow laziness to affect our connection with Allah during these hours is a serious loss. The Prophet warned against neglecting prayers, and carelessness in these moments may set a pattern of heedlessness in one's daily life. Spiritually, the time after Asr is one of remembrance. As the sun sets and darkness approaches, is a reminder of the cycle of life. Our time in this world is temporary and our days are limited. To waste these moments in unnecessary sleep instead of using them for dua, dhikr or Qur'an is to allow the heart to become dull. Many people testify that after sleeping at this time, they wake up not only heavy in body but also heavy in soul, unable to focus on worship or good deeds. This is what we mean by spiritual heaviness. In addition, excessive or poorly timed sleep can feed a cycle of laziness. Instead of gaining strength, the person finds themselves weaker, procrastinating important tasks and avoiding responsibilities. Islam is a religion of action, seeking sustenance, caring for family, helping others, and preparing for the hereafter. When sleep becomes an excuse for neglect, it turns from a blessing into a barrier. The Qur'an reminds us that man will have nothing except what he strives for. Surah Najm 53:9. A life of laziness contradicts this principle of striving. There are also narrations from early scholars cautioning against sleeping after Asr. While not every report is classified as sahih, the collective advice passed down through generations reflects lived wisdom. They observed how such naps often led to disturbing dreams, unsettled moods, and decreased productivity. The point is not that sleeping after Asr is haram, but that it is discouraged when it leads to harm, both worldly and spiritual. Practically, if one feels tired after Asr, the solution is not deep sleep, but light rest or engaging in calm, beneficial activities, reciting Qur'an, listening to reminders, spending time with family, or even light physical movement can refresh the body without dragging it into laziness. If sleep is unavoidable due to health or work needs, one should be mindful and disciplined, ensuring Maghrib is not compromised. The believer must remember that every moment of the day is an opportunity. When we allow laziness and spiritual heaviness to take control, we lose precious time that will never return. The hours after Asr are short, but their blessings are many for those who remain awake, alert, and engaged in worship or beneficial work. In short, sleeping after Asr is not just a physical act, it carries spiritual consequences. It can make the body heavy, the heart distracted, and the soul deprived of opportunities for barakah. Avoiding it, on the other hand, allows a believer to remain strong, focused, and ready to embrace the blessings Allah has placed in these hours. The life of a believer is shaped by choices. Every hour presents us with an opportunity to either draw closer to Allah or drift into heedlessness. Among the most crucial times of the day is the period after Asr. It is during these hours that the believer can either choose dhikr and good deeds, which bring barakah and tranquility, or fall into negligence, which leads to regret and loss. The Prophet emphasized the importance of remembering Allah in all circumstances. Dhikr is not restricted to the masjid or prayer mat. It can be done while sitting, walking, working, or even resting. The Qur'an praises those who remember Allah while standing, sitting, and lying on their sides. So Surah Al-Imran 3:9 went. After Asr, when the day begins to wind down, the opportunity for remembrance becomes especially significant. It is a time when the angels of the day depart and the angels of the night arrive, recording the final actions of the day. What better way to end the day's record than with the remembrance of Allah? Negligence during this time, on the other hand, is easy to fall into. Many people waste these precious moments in idle talk, unnecessary distractions, or even sleep that brings no benefit. Instead of preparing for Maghrib and the evening prayers, they allow themselves to be overtaken by laziness. This negligence does not only rob them of reward, but also builds a habit of heedlessness. Over time, this can weaken their spiritual state, making the heart less receptive to guidance and the soul less inclined toward goodness. Dhikr after Asr is not only a spiritual act, but also a shield. Reciting the morning and evening adkar provides protection from haram, envy, and whispers of shaitan. The Prophet taught his companions specific supplications to recite at these times for safety and barakah. For example, reciting Surah Al-Ikhlas, Al-Falaq, and Nas 3 times each after As is a sunnah practice that serves as a shield until the evening. Likewise, making dua during this time can be especially powerful, as the Prophet mentioned that there is an hour on Friday after As in which Allah does not reject the supplication of a believer's Bukhari Muslim. Good deeds done after As also carry immense value. Spending time with family, teaching children Qur'an, helping parents, or engaging in beneficial work, all of these can turn ordinary hours into acts of worship. Even simple actions like giving a kind word, helping a neighbor, or preparing for Maghrib prayer can count as deeds that Allah rewards. Islam does not separate between worship and daily life. When done with sincerity, every good action becomes ibadah. By contrast, negligence after Asr leads to emptiness. The heart becomes dull, the body heavy, and the evening wasted. Instead of entering Maghrib with energy and light, a negligent person enters it with tiredness and regret. The Qur'an warns us not to be among the heedless and do not be like those who forgot Allah. So He made them forget themselves. So Surah Al-Hashr 59 and 99, negligence is not just about missing acts of worship, it is about losing awareness of Allah, which leads to losing awareness of one's true purpose. Practical steps to avoid negligence include making a routine of reciting the evening adhkar, setting aside even 5 minutes to read Qur'an, and using the time for dua. Even engaging in halal work with the right intention is better than wasting the hours in idleness. If one feels tired, light rest or walking while doing dhikr is far better than deep, unnecessary sleep that disrupts the night. Ultimately, the choice is ours. Every day after Asr, we are faced with two paths: dhikr and good deeds that fill our lives with barakah, or negligence that drains us of spiritual strength. Choosing remembrance transforms ordinary time into extraordinary reward, while negligence turns valuable hours into wasted moments. The wise believer chooses dhikr, knowing that Allah multiplies even the smallest act done sincerely.